Ta-da! Welcome to Joseph's Hi-Fi in my pursuit for sumptuous sound. This is video number 4, all about the cabinet today, and I'd like to thank you again for joining me on this little experience and trip to see what I've done for my hi-fi setup. So the cabinet, it goes without saying, I've obviously got to say a big thank you to Amy and Gary at Maryborough Cabinets, the next town over, who made the pilgrimage over and have created this stunning piece. It wasn't the first choice we wanted to do. We had 3 or 4 other cabinet makers that all had a try at what I was trying to do, where I wanted to actually float the cabinet off the floor just to give it a bit more sort of space. Again, as mentioned in the other video, and as I will show you here, there are steel arms that have been anchored into the concrete of this, into the foundation of the house, that give us an absolutely rock solid platform to sit this on. So we don't get all the vibrations to do with the turntable or anything like that. Even when a standard freestanding cabinet would have been just fine, we took it a step further. So needless to say, I think it's come up tremendously well. Again, we talked about it in the previous video about the room and the color scheme and all the rest of it. We've just tried to keep it neutral. There was a mess here before, as seen in the other pictures of what they tried to do. I did want to have this so the front panel was always covered, was always exposed. And then you lift it like a piano, and there would be the turntables, and then there'd be a little shelf like in a piano. When you lift it up where the keys are to put your music, you could sit your LPs. It just didn't work, and I tried. It was just making the room worse and worse. So what we've ended up with is this tremendous cabinet. And so we'll just quickly have a few words about it. First of all, the cable entries on the side here. Plenty of plastic and rubbish out there. I was looking for something just a little bit better. So if you just have a quick look at this video here, you hear that sound? Doesn't that sound quality? That's what we've popped down here in the side. So very happy with those cable entries. The other thing is that frustrates me, especially in the studio world and the rest of it, has got to be with the rack equipment. I love rack equipment. And in the studio stuff, we rack all the stuff up. When we're out on the road doing our entertainment business, everything's racked accordingly and in flight cases and coffins. The one thing that frustrates me in this side of it is, as much as I like this type of equipment, it's the look. So to counteract that look, what we did was we had them construct this, so we still have them all, even with equipment that doesn't have the rack ears on it, like this vintage equalizer and analyzer. Obviously that's just a standard 19-inch rack shelf that's been put on, but we had these made up, which are magnetic, and just clip back over, and at the end of the day, that looks a much more polished piece of work. The next thing we had done is, again, for anyone that has a turntable, obviously we have our Zilty anti-static guns, we have our brushes, and we have our weights and bits and pieces, even remote controls for stuff. I wanted somewhere. I didn't want it obvious, so we did have a drawer made for this. Again, the remote, the brushes, head shells, all the bits and pieces that you just need to put somewhere. Put soft clothes on it just because it seemed crazy not to do that. Of course, we move on straight from there over to the actual cupboards themselves. I think these turned out really, really well at the end of the day. I just went with what the cabinet maker, I said, what would you do? What would make your wife happy? Happy wife, happy life. What do you think is going to be good? He said, I think I'd go with these handles. And actually, his wife was the one to choose them on one we saw in their demonstration showroom. And I just said, I think that's just absolutely perfect. So what I did was we had them popped in, and I illuminated them, put in warm white LED. I think that's just a little bit softer to each shelf so we can see what we're looking for. And anymore, if we open up the next door here, there's the records. And you'll recall in the first video that I had shown you the cases that I was, my record cases that I was retiring. Now I had about, I can't recall if it was 10 or 12, and they were filled with records. Well, I mean filled up completely. And as you would see in my record cleaning video, that was a long process getting them all done. What's interesting about all of them is, this is all of them. It's incredible to think that we're looking at about 11 to 12 cases of records here. And I still have room to grow accordingly. And I think that really worked out well. The thing I absolutely do adore about this, and of course, we made it so, you know, even when the doors close, it's just got that nice sort of soft closing to them and the lights go out. But what's really great about that is that even when no one's even using the hi-fi or anything like that, my wife might be in and someone says, oh, this is quite beautiful, what a lovely room, all the rest of it. Oh, it's a great hi-fi. And yeah, and sure. And here's our record collection. Again, it's just really our favourites that are here. We've kept it nice, clean, elegant, and I think it's come out really, really well. That will conclude it now for this video. Again, I'm trying to keep them short for you. The next one we're going to be talking about is going to be cables and power, so the interconnect and the way it all works. In fact, here are some I've prepared earlier. Isn't that tremendous? Needless to say, we'll get stuck into that in the next video. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you at the next one.